disappointed. I'm probably gutted. I'm something has to change, but I don't know who knew what. I'm thinking, why don't it just come out now then? You know, I knew, and I'm hearing everybody else is saying they've only just found out.
For anything illegal, and to me, it's just wrong. It stinks. The whole thing stinks. So, you know, everybody's got an opinion on it, and that's my opinion.
Do you think you'll come back from this?
Don't see how he does.
Obviously, it's a tough situation for him to deal with. He'll have to go through a process, but right now he's cleared to fight.
How long? The boxing world was thrown into chaos when news broke that Joseph Parker had allegedly failed a drug test just days before his highly anticipated clash with Fabio Wardley. It was a revelation that shook the sport's foundations, and few voices captured the mood better than Johnny Nelson, the veteran analyst and former cruiserweight champion. His response wasn't emotional, it was
make you a better fighter. Drugs may make you a little stronger, may make you a little, give you a bit more energy, but it don't make you technically smart. It doesn't give you all of that, you know. So those drug cheats that do it purposely, you've got to remember, you know, why are you doing it? What difference is it going to make? It's going to make you like a boxing Einstein?
Surgical, sharp, and deeply disappointed. Nelson's words cut through the confusion with a veteran's calm fury. He didn't rant or rage. Instead, his disappointment carried weight, the tone of a man who's seen the sport's darkest corners and is tired of watching history repeat itself. One failed test, he said, can shadow a fighter's entire legacy.
Unfortunately, there is going to be, there needs to be an inquiry straight after this, why, what. But that's what I'm hearing. This news is as fresh to me as it is you. I'm quite sure when this goes out, it'll be all over.
Before the first bell even rings. To Nelson, this wasn't just about Parker. It was about boxing itself and the constant erosion of trust between fighters and fans. From the moment Parker's failed test hit headlines, Nelson demanded answers. He questioned how a situation this chaotic could have.
We've just been waiting for all the final test results to come back from UCAD, which are now back, that are negative, and that's the testing process they use. So we need clarity from the board. If you're not suspending him, if you're not allowing this fight to happen, he can fight someone else, but you won't allow this fight. So again, it's quite fresh at the moment, but that's where we are at the moment.
Unfold so close to a major bout. His tone wasn't one of hysteria, but of authority, demanding accountability, not excuses. Boxing's reputation is on the line, he warned, and someone must answer for it. His stance echoed the sentiment of a growing number of fans who've seen too many controversies.
If it was me, take his license away. You know, because you cannot
damage the sport they love. Eddie Hearn, always quick to manage crisis, jumped in to calm the storm. He moved fast to defend Parker, insisting that the reports were being misinterpreted. According to Hearn, the latest tests had returned negative results, and the confusion came from outdated or preliminary samples. Yet the damage was already done once the term failed test.
Turn up and get paid.
Correct.
This should not be their decision. The British Boxing Board of Control should be standing up and taking the voluntary anti-doping test seriously. Absolutely. Yes, I know that you work with the UK anti-doping. I know that, but this is a test. He's popped hot. Let's look into it properly. What happens what if something happens on Saturday night?
Absolutely.
What if we've already got a safety issue?
Hit the air. Doubts spread like wildfire. The boxing community was torn between belief and skepticism. Some trusted Hearn's defense, while others wondered whether the truth was being massaged to save a fight that had too much money on the line. Amid the chaos, Duke McKenzie didn't mince his words. The former
I don't know exactly what is going on, and so I don't have anything to say right now. I'm surprised, yes, because I know Ryan and I.
World champion's reaction was blunt and unapologetic. His verdict on Parker was brutal. He demanded immediate suspension pending full investigation. There's no room in this sport, he said, for chemical advantages or moral shortcuts. His frustration mirrored the public's. Boxing, he argued, is built on fairness, courage, and pain earned honestly. When someone breaks that code, the damage doesn't stop at one name. It spreads through the entire sport. Adam Catterall, one of Britain's most outspoken commentators, echoed that anger but turned it toward the system itself. He didn't just criticize Parker, he went straight for the governing bodies, slamming their lack of control. How does a failed test story even get this far before a major fight? He asked.
You need to not get distracted, not get dissuaded from anything, just stay on target, stay on focus. I have the athleticism, I have the speed, I have the power. I've got it in my tank to go through the rounds if you want to go. So there's none of those things are a factor or a problem for me. I just need to stay on job.
Where's the accountability? His voice carried frustration, not just for one fighter's potential wrongdoing, but for the bureaucracy that continually fails to protect the sport's integrity. For Catterall, this wasn't about vengeance. It was about setting a standard. If the rules aren't enforced consistently, boxing's credibility collapses. Amid the outrage, a rare voice of restraint came from Canelo Alvarez, a global superstar who's faced similar scrutiny in his own career. Canelo urged patience before punishment. "Let the facts come out," he said simply. His words, though few, carried weight. Even he seemed baffled by Parker's situation, but refused to add fuel to the fire. It was a measured response, a moment of calm in a week where boxing's
fucking hell, cheating bastard. You know, that's the initial reaction. Whether it's a first fail or a third fail, that's the initial reaction. Your gut reaction is, but then obviously we don't know what he's failed for yet, and we don't know what it is. But then when it's somebody that's failed 3 times, or this is the third adverse reaction.
Image seemed to crack under pressure. While the media swirled around controversy, Fabio Wardley remained an island of focus. The British heavyweight didn't let the scandal distract him. In interviews, he cut through the noise with cold precision. No anger, no excitement, just purpose. "I'm here to fight," Wardley said, his voice steady. Everything else is noise. His calm was unnerving to some and inspiring to others. While the world questioned Parker's integrity, Wardley's composure became a statement in itself. For him, this wasn't about scandals or excuses. It was about standing as the clean, disciplined fighter boxing deserves. Every comment he made carried a subtle message. While you battle headlines, I'll be prepared.
And the people that are, doing that sort of thing. So, drug cheats need to, they need to step aside and let real fighters fight.
Do you ever for victory? The controversy seemed to fuel his drive. Wardley trained like a man with something to prove. Not just to win a fight, but to defend boxing's honor. His composure under pressure showed a fighter whose strength was more than physical, it was moral. Dave Coldwell's reaction captured the emotional pulse of British boxing. Always known for his honesty, he didn't hide behind politeness. "Cheating bastard," he said bluntly when the news broke, a raw reflection of what many fans felt. But Coldwell, a trainer and analyst who's seen every side of the sport, quickly tempered his fury with reason. He acknowledged the importance of facts before final judgment. It was a professional's balance between outrage and fairness.
What drugs you take, it doesn't make you a better fighter. Might make you stronger, might make you fair. It doesn't make you a better fighter, and that's proof. So until more new...
Still, his first reaction spread across social media like wildfire. It showed the sheer depth of disappointment from those who once admired Parker for his humility and work ethic. Coldwell's words captured the heartbreak that runs through boxing when integrity is questioned. Beneath every angry comment is a love for the sport that deserves better. Daniel Dubois, another heavyweight who's fought his way up through hardship, didn't hold back either. His response carried the righteous fury of a man who sacrificed everything for an honest career. "Drug cheats," he said, "should step aside so real warriors can shine." His tone was venomous but sincere. In his eyes, doping wasn't just unfair, it was dangerous. In a sport where one punch can end a life, any chemical advantage puts others at risk.
I mean, this is very unforgiving. You can't, I'm sorry. Provided he's been found, it's 100% that those substances were found in his system, it's unforgiving. And you know what, I blame the governing bodies because I don't believe that they imposing heavy enough
Dubois' message resonated deeply. Boxing's honor comes from its pain, not shortcuts. As the backlash grew, Johnny Nelson's voice returned with even more gravity. Now his tone carried exhaustion more than anger, the weary disappointment of a man who's seen this too many times. He drew parallels to the Conor Benn scandal, reminding fans how that saga had already dented public faith in boxing's testing systems. "We keep saying lessons will be learned," Nelson said, but nothing changes. His words felt less like an opinion and more like a plea for transparency, for consistency, for the sport to protect itself from self-destruction. For many fans, Nelson spoke the truth they couldn't put into words. Every new scandal chips away at the respect boxing fights so hard to earn. His calm, measured tone said what outrage couldn't. The sport is losing.
I feel like Wardley wins this fight with a knockout. I don't know why I'm thinking of it, but it's just, you know, when you know, it's like that. It's like when you play the lottery and then you just get your numbers right. And I believe Fabio has got his numbers right now because after his last performance, he's got something to prove. I know Fabio for a while, you know, Fabio's a little beast. And Joseph is a beast as well, but I believe that Fabio Wardley wins this fight with a knockout, it will stop Joseph Parker.
Something sacred. Don Charles, a trainer with decades of experience, added his own perspective. His response wasn't emotional. It was final. Unforgiving, he said. That single word summed up his stance. For Charles, there was no room for leniency in matters of integrity. Boxing is already a brutal business. One wrong punch can end a life. Allowing fighters to compete with illegal enhancements isn't just cheating, it's criminally reckless. He didn't stop at Parker. Charles blamed the system, the promoters, the officials, the regulators. Anyone who turns a blind eye when money outweighs morals, when cheating becomes negotiable, he warned, the sport starts to rot from within. His words resonated like a verdict on the state of modern boxing. Derek Chisora approached the situation with the wisdom.
Obviously, you've been in with Fabio Wardley on a couple of occasions. What are his biggest qualities?
Well, you don't need me to tell you nothing more than he can punch very hard. You know, you only have to ask my face. Yeah, he can really bang, and he's gritty. He's tough and he's gritty. You know, that's definitely his strengths. But then again, so is Joseph Park. You know, very tough, very durable, very good boxing brain. It's a cracking fight.
The seasoned veteran, he didn't rant or accuse. Instead, he made a quiet but powerful prediction. Chisora expressed complete faith in Fabio Wardley, saying destiny was on his side. His lottery metaphor summed it up perfectly. Luck favors the honest. For Chisora, this fight was more than a contest of skill. It was a test of karma. Truth always comes to the surface, he said, and cheaters never prosper. His tone was calm, but his message clear. Wardley represents the clean, hungry spirit boxing needs. In his eyes, Parker's mistakes, true or not, had already tilted the balance. Chisora's faith in Wardley felt like a symbolic passing of the torch from an old warrior to a new one. Fraser Clark, ever composed and balanced, offered a fighter's perspective. Having shared the ring with both men, he spoke with respect for Parker's experience, and Wardley...
Parker has got wonderful skills, and under Andy Lee, he's really rejuvenated, and I think he's one of the best heavyweights in the world, period now, former world champion, of course. I think he's better than he once was, so that's a problem for Wardley, but Wardley brings that power in, and remember, Joe Joyce knocked Joe Parker out. Others have had him in trouble, Dillian White down, so you can never write Wardley out of anything, and he'll fancy
hunger. But even in his neutral tone, the shift was noticeable. He seemed to lean subtly toward Wardley, admiring his grit and work ethic. Clark reminded everyone that in boxing, heart and honesty often outweigh reputation and height. Parker's failed test, whether proven or not, had already cast a shadow that no amount of skill could fully erase. Adam Smith, the voice of Sky Sports Boxing, brought analytical calm to the chaos. He reminded viewers of Parker's long-standing reputation for class and technical brilliance. But even Smith couldn't ignore the elephant in the room. The failed test had cracked the foundation of Parker's comeback story. This fight, Smith said, is more than a heavyweight showdown. It's redemption versus rise. He described Wardley as a man fighting for respect and Parker as a man fighting for credibility. One seeks validation.
If Fabio Wardley's just reliant on that one shot, it's not going to come because Hearn didn't know how to close that fight out. Hearn could have run like a thief in a night on that last round and won a landslide decision.
So how does Joe Parker take this fight on?
Smith noted the other absolution. It was a perfect summation of what's at stake. Meanwhile, Duke McKenzie, breaking down the matchup like a professor, added context. He revisited Wardley's journey from white-collar boxing to the professional stage, countering every criticism about his technique or pedigree. The man has earned his spot, Mackenzie declared. He's faced every doubt head-on, and that's what separates fighters from talkers. Still, he acknowledged the test Wardley faces. Parker's experience remains unmatched, but so does the pressure he now carries. Mackenzie concluded with a line that felt prophetic: "The sport always moves forward." Wardley is the symbol of that next era, where effort replaces entitlement and clean work replaces controversy. And so, as fight night approaches, this battle has become much bigger than rankings or belts. It's a showdown between redemption and righteousness. Joseph Parker steps into the ring not just against Fabio Wardley, but against headlines, suspicion, and his own shadow. For Wardley, this is a statement fight, a chance to prove that integrity still wins in the end. The atmosphere surrounding the fight is electric, raw, and unpredictable. Every punch will carry the weight of public opinion. Every round will test more than skill. It will test character. If Parker wins, he reclaims his story. If Wardley triumphs, he ends it with brutal honesty. The stage is set. The stakes are real. Now it's your call. Are you backing Parker's redemption or Wardley's rise?